Hey guys, Loki here from Trinity, bringing you a U.A Turbo deck profile. Anyway, well, let's get into this by going through the main deck. So to start us off, we have 3 UA midfielders. You need 3 midfielders in this deck because without them, it's almost impossible to get out any of your UA monsters because they all need a tribute summon, and the easiest way to get them out is just by bouncing a UA monster from the field to the hand. His effect is interesting. During either player's turn, you can target another UA monster on the field and send it back to your hand. This effect is good when you need to protect one of your monsters after you've used your Perfect Ace's effect and you cannot save your other monsters. So then next we have the 3 Perfect Aces. I'm running Perfect Ace at 3 because it's a good card. It negates monster spells and trap effects by discarding a card, and if you're having a good duel, you will build up a hand so you have ammunition to use for his effect. Also, he's a 2500 defense monster, so it gives your opponent some trouble to get over, especially if you're playing Satellar Knights because they're all small.
I hate that dev deck.
Then we have the 3 UA Sluggers. I'm running Slugger at 3 because he is the beater of the deck. You cannot stop his attacks because you cannot activate any cards until the end of the damage step, so no Battle Faders, no Honest, no D Prisons, if people even run those anymore. You know what I mean. And just a good 33 after you put on the jersey. Then I'm running 2 goalkeepers. I'm running goalkeeper at 2 because I feel that 1 is just not enough, because I like to protect my monsters, and this is exactly what he does. During your opponent's turn, you can target 1 UA monster on the field. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect once during that turn. So, saves your monster, has a 28 defense, and just being a 28 defense monster really inconveniences your opponent because either they're going to have to bounce it or they have to do all that they can to bring out something that can run it over. And I played 2 blockbackers. I feel that in this day and age that you need to have at least 2 blockbackers if you're going to play this deck because of his effect. When your opponent would special summon a monster, you can negate that monster's effect and switch its battle position. And we all know that you special summon to win now. Once again, 27 defense and big defense really inconveniences your opponent, makes them have to go into their big monsters to get over it, or Dark Hole, Raigeki. Honestly, I would run him at 3, but we only have 1 midfielder, and we don't have a midfielder. That's the only monster that your UA monster you can summon without a tribute. Then I'm playing 2 UA Playmakers. What he does is when you attack with a UA monster other than him, you can have him lose 800 attack and have the attacking monster gain 800 attack. This effect can be used more than once per turn. I run him at 2 because I just want to make sure that I get him out so I can buff up my Slugger even more. But running him at 1 would be alright, though in this deck I don't have a way of getting my monsters back from the grave. Now I'm running 1 Summoner Monk. I run 1 Summoner Monk because I'm running 3 Rotas. 3 Rotas and 1 Summoner Monk is fine in my opinion. I don't really need 2. Though I could run the 2 Summoner Monks to get into a rank 4, because really when you're playing this deck you hardly ever go into the extra deck because you have the Slugger with the UA jersey. Now in this deck I don't run any traps, hence why this is why I call it a turbo deck. The UA Stadium is a really great card. When you normal summon a UA monster, you can search your deck for another UA monster. So usually you would summon the midfielder, search for another monster, bounce the midfielder, special summon that UA monster, and once per turn when a UA monster is special summoned, all UA monsters gain 500 attack. And that doesn't stop until, like, it's just always there until that monster leaves the field. And believe me, that 500 attack really does stack up, especially if you have your Slugger on the field. Now we're running the 3 power jersey. Great card. It boosts your UA monster by 1,000, and when it hits a monster, it does double the damage that it would do, and you're able to attack again. The only thing is that if you leave that UA monster on the field, that UA monster gets banished and this gets sent to the grave. So to avoid that, what you would do is bounce your UA monster, send this would get sent to the grave, and when this card is sent to the grave, because the UA monster it was equipped to was bounced by another UA monster's effect, you get to add this jersey back to your hand. And we're running the 3 Rota. Self-explanatory. This is how you get into your midfielder faster if you don't have your Summoner Monk. So this is the reason why I'm running Summoner Monk at 1, although running it at 2 would be alright due to the fact it special summons the midfielder, and then you can just bounce it right there. So you summon the Summoner Monk, get the midfielder, bounce the midfielder, get your big UA monster. Now for what makes this the turbo, it's because I'm running the reasoning. That's why I call it turbo, because of reasoning, and I'm running no traps. I'm loving that reasoning is at 3. You play this card, your opponent declares level, and you just keep revealing your cards until you find a monster that you can normal summon. If that monster is not the declared level, you can special summon that monster, but then you have to send the rest of the cards that you review to the grave. But that's alright, because you get a monster on board, in my opinion. I don't mind it. I'm playing 2 turnover tactics. I would never activate this on my turn because my opponent gets monsters, I get some monsters, and then I can't attack. So usually you would activate this on your opponent's turn when they finally get out their XYZ monster or their synchro. Say, go home Dante, you don't get your floating effect, even though the other Burning Abyss cards will get their effects off. And then this card effect, it says you return pretty much all possible cards on the field to the deck. You special summon monsters with different names equal to how much ever cards that were sent, but your opponent also gets to do the same thing. So it's it kind of hurts you as well, but ultimately I think you'd be hurting your opponent more. Then I run the 2 terraformings just so I'm able to get to the UA stadiums faster. Also, if I need to, I could use this as fodder for the Summoner Monk to get out the midfielder, so this isn't always a dead thing. Then I'm running the 2 hidden armories. I'm running the 2 hidden armories because just so I'm able to get back my jersey, search for the jersey, or bring back or search for for the Snatch and Steal. The only downside part about this is that you mill your card and you can't armor summon for that turn, but usually if I use this, it's because I already have a monster on board, so I don't need it. Then I'm using 2 Stormforce. I'm using the Stormforce because just in case I don't have I don't have my midfielder, but I have my ace or my slugger, I can tribute my opponent's monster, get out my slugger, and do whatever I need to do. So this pretty much kind of makes sure that I don't get a lot of dead hands. Now running 2 MSTs. Vanity's Emptiness is a thing, and I need to special summon with this deck. If I can't special summon, I automatically lose. Then the Snatch and Steal and the Dark Hole. Snatch and Steal, Dark Hole, pretty self-explanatory. I'm not running any traps in this deck because I wanted to make this deck as fast as possible, and I find that this build is by all means fast, even though I could take out some monsters and some other things to put in for the Upside Goblin to make it even faster, but I like this build. I have fun with it. Now for the extra deck, we've got the Utopia, Abyss Dweller, Cowboy, Honor Arc, Castel. Those are the 4s. Utopia, just don't ever underestimate the Utopia. It can help. Then Castel, Arc, Cowboy, but Abyss Dweller, I really don't think I need to go into detail about this. In many decks I can go into the 4s. And now for the 5s. Got 2 Shark Fortresses, an Inzektor Exostag, and a Volcasaurus. These are just pretty much things that I randomly threw in because, quite frankly, while playing UAs, you really don't go into the extra deck, so I just threw in whatever I had. And then Pilgrim Reaper, the 1/6. Almost never will you ever go into this because you don't need to. But it's a fun card. Make your opponent mill their deck out. And I noticed that right now, like with Necros, Quaforts, everything, they really deck thin a lot. So you really just make them mill out cards so they have less cards in the deck. And maybe, just maybe, you can win by deck out. And then, of course, the one legendary Crazy Box. Personally, this is just me, but in almost all of my decks, I will run Crazy Box because it's Crazy Box, and running a Crazy Box is fun. And that about wraps it up for this U.A Turbo deck profile. Like, comment, subscribe. This is Hiramas, and I'll see you guys later.